Are you fucking serious?
So yeah, whenever. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? 0 kills?
Oh my god!
Are you kidding me? What even happened? Could anyone tell me what happened?
Rank X is an extreme rank, even higher than S+.
Come on! God! You fucking horse's ass! Not one! Did it again! Wait! What the f is that? What is that? Yo! 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 X Rank for pretty much the entirety of its lifetime on Splatoon 2 has been notorious for being the absolute worst playing experience anyone could ever have on the game, and I want to talk about why it's so bad and how Splatoon 3's new system is so good. And if you want a better explanation about how anarchy battles will work, I have a video about that in the description below, which I recommend you check out as well. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more from me, be sure to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into it. Now, without a doubt, most of us know the main issues with X Rank being its questionable matchmaking and uneven point distribution, which I'll talk about later, but even at that, I feel like there are even more things that made X Rank as a whole so bad, starting with how you get up to it. I feel we can all agree it's easier to rank up in Splatoon 2 than in Splatoon 1, because back then you never had the possibility to skip more than one rank, or more notably an OK line to preserve your rank. While all this seemed nice, this only made it possible to maintain a negative win-loss ratio and continuously keep your rank, whether your rank was as low as C- or as high as S+9. But in Splatoon 1, starting at B rank, having a negative win-loss ratio would eventually make you D-rank. If you're a player in S+9, you have to not get an excessive amount of losses and wait for the one time you get a decent win rate in order to get X rank, which I believe has ultimately led to such a huge skill gap. And another example to see how massive the skill gap is in X Rank is by using the game's point system across every rank in the game. Now, some people may not know this, but even if you're not in X Rank, the game still gives you a number similar to an X Rank power that determines things like if you're good enough to skip ranks, and is why you can see the 8 squid power number at the start of a match starting at B-. After going through 2 different speedruns to X Rank within the past year, I calculated the average power of every B- lobby and it came to roughly 1,773. We can compare this to the lowest power number that you can go up to still be in X Rank, which is 1900, and then compare that to the highest X Rank power ever reached, which is about 3,106 by Chocopero, the best solo queue player from Japan. What this means is that with Nintendo's point system, anyone at B- is over 9 times closer to the skill of someone who can be in X Rank compared to 2 people in X Rank. Heck, the skill level of the average B- player is closer to X Rank than 2 people with the powers 1900 and 2100, and those are really common powers. In short, the skill gap between players in X Rank alone is way too large, and while there are a good amount of higher level players in X Rank, if you live pretty much anywhere but Japan and are above 2400, good matchmaking is extremely rare, which is another issue I want to briefly talk about. The reason why Japan has a huge abundance of players finishing in the top 500 spots at the end of the month is simply because they have a larger competitive scene, which results in a larger number of better players than anywhere else in the world. If you watch just about any top 500 JP player hop in a solo queue, they will be matched against multiple other top 500 players, but we simply just don't see that as often anywhere else. How many times in Western Ranked have you seen only 1 or no more than 3 top 500 players compared to JP players easily being able to find lobbies where everyone has a top 500 spot? The game's matchmaking is more inclined to pair people up depending on where they live rather than how good they are at the game, and it's made playing in X Rank for numerous people to this day absolutely dreadful. And speaking of dreadful, we cannot forget about the insane point losses no matter what your power is in X rank, and point gains that can literally be 0.0 multiple times in a row. You win for absolutely no reward, and it completely wastes your time playing the game. It can demand insane win-loss ratios in order to have your X power increase and make you drop hundreds of points and hours of progress in just a few unlucky matches. It's really hard to not find someone on Twitter complaining about how many points they just lost, and is known to be really demotivating for content creators that just want to play the game. Now finally, there are two more issues that aren't talked about too often that includes poor balances to weapon comps and the amount of specials on either team. Now it's worth noting that Nintendo did indeed make weapon comps a little bit more bearable in patch 3.2.0 that prevented having a comp like 4 chargers versus 4 shooters and split teams up as evenly as possible based on the weapons being played. But what that didn't prevent was having multiple of the same weapon class or type in a single lobby. Today a lobby can have 5 chargers and force one team to have 3 of them to make it as even as possible. This can easily result in one team not having enough aggression or paint throughout the entirety of a match, and I hope Splatoon 3 fixes this so that no more than 2 backlines can be in a single lobby, and each team can just have one, so it's much better. When it comes to special balance, it's just about the same thing, where you can have teams with 4 of the same specials, such as missiles or armor, so I'm really hoping they fix that in the next game too. And with that, that's just about everything that was wrong with Splatoon 2's ranking system and why X Rank is such a mess, but personally, I believe we can have significantly better hopes in Splatoon 3, and here's why. First off, we know that Splatoon 1's ranking system was more based on keeping a positive win rate in order to rank up, and Splatoon 2's point-based system would raise or decrease your power depending on the skill level you played against, while Splatoon 3's Anarchy battle system literally combines the two, where you give up some points in order to gain more points back while still needing to maintain a positive win rate, and I think that's a huge improvement overall. In addition to this, the higher you rank up, the harder it's going to be to keep ranking up, which is what Splatoon 1 did way better than 2 and should be how every competitive game's ranked mode should work, so matchmaking is as consistent as possible. It's also worth noting that in X Rank you'll be able to have the option to play alongside different regions, which includes Japan, so you can play an even better matchmaking system no matter what your power is. And finally, every 3 months every player will derank a few ranks, which will ultimately give people a better reason to actually play the mode more often. And with that, that's my big rant about Splatoon 2's ranking system and X Rank as a whole. It definitely had a lot of flaws, and I'm glad we're potentially getting something much better in just a few more weeks with the arrival of Splatoon 3. I for one cannot wait to possibly have some fun playing solo queue, and I'd like to know what you guys think about all the changes in the comments below. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day, stay mellow, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Peace.